Hey, welcome back to another episode of It's a Football Thing. As always, I'm your host, RJ, and I'm joined by my fellow co-host and champion mate, Scott the Happy Gooner and Rob the Not So Happy Red Devil. We got Singlet Rob in the house. We should make a special mention of that. Robbie, why don't we check in? How are you doing, my man?
I'm good, mate. Like I said, I did have a good long weekend. Got to see the boys, got to see the supporters club. The sport wasn't so kind to me in results ways all over, but happy to be here as always, mate.
Good, man. Scott, how you feeling, buddy?
Well, 2 weeks ago, we beat Chelsea. We take your team down. Always good laugh. And then I go have a few beers, spend some time with the Manchester United New South Wales Supporters Club. Some fine ladies and gentlemen there. Bit of banter being thrown my way by about, 50, 60 of them, putting a bit of stick on me, rightfully so. But tell you what, it went very quiet, very quick. Very quiet, very quick. So I have done the IFT Derby double in 2 consecutive weeks. Holy moly. It's been up there. It's been up there. I would cop
It's almost like a Champions League, right, Rob? It's almost like a big trophy you've got.
Yeah,
mate, I would take that right now because I enjoy nothing more than getting one over you two boys. So I'll take it with a grin. How are you, RJ?
Mate, you've made my night with that comment. I'm thinking about having standards and you're dropping the IFT Derby double on me. For me personally, doing pretty well. Chelsea got a win. Wasn't the best of performances. We'll touch on that. Just got back from my son's training and just running around like a bit of a mad monkey, but always good to talk football with you fine people. And speaking of fine people, I believe we've got a few fine people in the IFT house this evening.
Yeah, got a couple in here, Alex. Nice to see you. My uncle and our humble Spurs fan. Been a little bit quiet lately, the old Spurs. We love it. We got Lottie here. Lottie, what a week. I am still on a massive high, but I don't think I'm as excited as you because you got to be at the game and witness it in the flesh. So I'm very jealous. Football capital, Borches here, Arsenal. You know what, mate? I'll take it. 3 points is 3 points. But we are going to talk about...
Done it against us too, Borche. Done it against us, against you. They're copping all the calls.
I'm going to call it the violin derby because everyone's playing sad songs. We are going to go through, though, a little bit later on. I've got a whole bunch of stills because VAR had a shocker this week, and we're going to go through them, and we're going to kind of come to our decision on what the calls were. We got another part of the Cannon Chatter crew. We got G here, my man. Nice to see you in here. Loving this energy. Derby double. We got Carefree.
Hey.
You fit me up the Chelsea.
Nice to see you here. Been a little while, Scott. How are you, legend? Good to have a chat, hopefully soon.
Good to have you here. We're going to start with the Chelsea talk in a minute, so make sure you stick around and share your views. Davide back in the house. And Alex, summing it up, what a difference a week makes. Absolutely. RJ, let's start with your boys, and then we're going to get into Arsenal Man United. Just quickly talk us through that massive London derby win.
Well, it was massive on paper, Scott, and unfortunately the action on the field didn't quite live up to the hype because it's quite a passive affair. West Ham, unsurprisingly, rested a lot of key stars because of the big Europa semis that they're preparing for. Ourselves, we were quite lighthearted and made a few changes, but overall, the way I describe it is it was a very a low-intensity, safe game from both teams. Chelsea showed a bit more initiative but failed to break down a very disciplined and very well-organised Moyes West Ham side. In the second half, Tuchel's halftime talk must have had some effect because we were looking like the likelier of the two teams to find that opener. The triple subs that were made pretty late, in my opinion, by Tuchel brought on Romelu Lukaku, Hakim Ziyech, and eventual match winner Christian Pulisic. They all had a positive impact. Lukaku drew the penalty. Jorginho, who I want to say just quickly, he missed the penalty. Not a good attempt, and that's the risk you take when you have that hop, skip, jump. But overall, it's quite a shame because his performance was quite well. He played pretty well with Conte, and both of those midfielders have been in the spotlight. Contracts are running out next season. What do you do? World Cup winners, Euro winners. Is it time to go? Is it time to renew? So there's a lot of spotlight on these two particular individuals. So it's a bit of a shame that for Jorginho personally, he missed that penalty. But overall, good effort from the two twins there. And then Christian Pulisic, Marcus Alonso, Mr. Inevitable, tucked it back in, and Pulisic, Captain America, saved the day for Chelsea. So, look, huge 3 points, gives us that little bit of breathing space as we draw close to the season, but just not a very good performance all round, even from my perspective as a winner.
You take the 3 points, though, and at the end of the day, 3 points is 3 points. It doesn't matter how you get
Against a
them.
London rival as well, you take them.
You take them. I was a little bit disappointed in West Ham. I don't think they played too well, to be honest. I mean, they were all right, but I expected them to kind of put a bit of pressure on you or press you with a lot of intensity, but there just seemed to be not much there, which fills me with some confidence because we play them very soon. So a big 3 points for Tommy Tuchel and your Blues. Let's jump over to our game. Robbie, I'm going to let you do the talking first. What went wrong? And don't make the first words out of your mouth, VAR. Don't be
I'll
that
do it for
guy.
him,
We
VAR.
had salty Ross John last week. Don't be that guy.
Mate, you know how it is. I tell it how it is all the time. Straight down the middle. And look, I thought it was an entertaining game. We've seen these games before when a big rivalry gets talked up and it's a 0 draw or nothing happens. I thought both teams kind of did go at each other. To be honest, I thought it was a reverse game of the first fixture. I thought you guys were better at Old Trafford and we got away with a win. And I thought the exact opposite this one. I thought that we were the better on the day out of the two and you guys got away with a win. So kind of evened itself out over the two legs. But look, man, when we concede after 2 minutes, we're on the back foot from the start, mate. Like I said, Saka obviously got the ricocheted shot from Saka, and who was it? Your wingback that scored, wasn't it?
Nuno Tavares.
Tavares with a tap in. Look, mate, credit to him, and what a way to silence the United fans both at the pub and at the game. From then it continued. Again, we got a couple VAR decisions that I'm sure you'll bring up, but one I don't think you will be able to bring up because VAR didn't check it. Was that handball that
I've got it.
You actually picked up, Scotty. I have to give you credit for this because in real time I didn't see this, and you said that's a penalty and a red card, and I'm like, okay, I didn't see it. They didn't even go to VAR. That was the thing that gave me the shits the most. But it was about 5 minutes later that we didn't even see we didn't even get to see the replay to half time. But when you did see it, that is definitely 100% a penalty for me, and you can nearly say it's a red card at the same time. Again, goals and moments change games. That was a big one for me.
I thought Xhaka's goal, because I was saying to you and the boys at the pub, Robbie, I'd said to you at halftime, I said, if it was 0-0 at halftime, none of the goals had gone in, you would actually say the Man United had been the better team. You had us under the cosh, but in those big moments, we were very, very clinical. And I think that was the difference, to be honest, because you had the chances, you just weren't clinical. Then you got the penalty, and it was a dreadful penalty. Like, I know a lot of people were calling, you included, for Ronaldo to take it. He unselfishly let Bruno take it. And I heard someone saying maybe that penalty was given to him because he has been in a bit of a funk, and that could have maybe kick-started him into some of that goal-scoring form. But it was a dreadful pen. It was a shocker.
Yeah, look, a lot of people don't like the style. For me, I've got nothing wrong with the style because, a lot of the time I've seen some players like Bruno previously, like Balotelli for all those years. It does work, but you've got to hit the target, number one. You've got to do a better effort than that for me. So, and like I said, you were right. We did have a few times we did get in behind your defense a few times. Obviously, Anthony Langer, penalty shout that got overturned. For me, I was happy that not to be a penalty if you guys didn't get your penalty because I thought it was pretty much very similar contact with the one. Obviously, yes, it was offside, but got overturned for your Saka penalty. I thought that was much of a muchness contact-wise. Look, going in 2-0, our goal, obviously, you seen Ronaldo. I actually thought, like you said, your first goal was quite easy. I was surprised how easy Ronaldo's goal was. A defensive error from you guys. 2-1, we're back in the game. And like I said, we did pepper you guys in the second half for quite all over you until that great shot from Granit Xhaka, first shot on target. That was an nail in the coffin.
Check this comment. Borche's gone to the school of salty RJ from last week. Listen to this. Amazon need Arsenal to meet
school,
targets,
mate. The facto school.
for the Doco fairy tale ending. Now, some people might say I'm a logical guy, and I think I am too. Amazon are one company, the Premier League are another. I can't see the Premier League referees being too worried about Amazon.
Oh, they're
And
colluding, Scott. You're missing the bigger
Oh,
picture, mate.
absolutely.
Amazon and the Premier League are
Yeah.
in bed together, mate. Botches on the
It's-
money, mate. You've been
it's a
rorting the
grand
comp for years.
conspiracy.
It's about time you
Yeah.
got called out for it.
I'm going to
This
start
was
calling.
this was like the Netflix and Verstappen Formula One last year, mate. They wanted the big ending, mate.
I'm going to start calling it the Salt Factory if you throw comments like that. The Salt Capital if you keep throwing things like that in. Man United weren't that bad. I agree with Alex on this comment.
We weren't that bad for a change. Like
David,
you look at our we hit the crossbar. We hit that. We had the great save when come off the Ramsdale onto the post. We had obviously the missed opportunity at the penalty. We had so many chances compared to Arsenal. But yeah, I do have to say that Xhaka goal, 35 yards out, pure strike, and that was a goal worthy strike.
Before we kind of wrap this part of the show up, I'm going to shout this out because I've been very critical of Jadon Sancho, who's to me still,
100%.
considering the price tag, has been a flop signing, but very good performance, was very dangerous, had us on skates a lot of the time. Just no one could finish off that final ball that he kept putting in. And Emad, it was a pleasure to meet you up there as well. Emad's doing some stuff with Adam over at Man Cave United, their new channel. So show them a bit of love as well. All right. We'll do a couple more salty comments, and then we're going to talk VAR. Amazon. Oh, goodness. And the third goal was offside. Well, let's talk about that. One of the themes of this weekend, and I feel like it hasn't been a theme lately, boys, is VAR. We haven't been talking about it all that much, but it was spoken about significantly after this weekend. What I'm going to do, I've got some still images, always hard with stills. Not necessarily going to start with the Arsenal game, but let's have a look at these. Let's have a look and get some opinions. First one, I'll make that a little bit larger. Old mate Sadio, he's got this in his locker. The face shove, the eye poke. Some call it a little bit grubby. What did you make of this, though, RJ? Should this have been a red?
He had two instances of it during the game, and there's a bigger theme. This one particular, look, controversial. I don't think this in itself was enough as a red. Like it's a still shot, as you said. It's a bit hard, and it was quite a feisty affair at times. And Everton were doing all they could to game their way through to half time and really frustrate Liverpool. And it was working, to their credit. But there was a couple of instances where he could have easily got a couple of bookings, which equaled a red card. So there's just a broader theme with Liverpool, particularly at Anfield, that are getting the extra rub of the green, and that's what Lampard called out. But Robbie, what did you think of this one, mate?
Yeah, mate. Seeing it like that, yeah, it's got to be a red for me, mate. You're not allowed to touch people. You're not allowed to do shit like that. So yeah, he should have been sent off for me.
For me, at the very least, the eye poke's a yellow. This is a yellow. There's two yellow.
Eye poke a yellow? That should be a red.
No. I'm saying,
you got two eyes, Rob, so you can have to do both
it.
of them to get a red card.
No. What I'm trying to say is I would have given a red for the eye poke deliberately because I think it was deliberate. However, if you wanted to give them the rub of the green, the least you would give is a yellow for the eye poke and then a yellow for this. So to me, that's two. He should have been off either way. Liverpool, remarkably lucky there. I'm going to bring up another still from that game. Hopefully I bring up the right one. I've got more tabs open than you'd believe. Here we go. This is the next one. Robbie and I were talking about this before the show. RJ?
He's on the same.
I watched it. I watched it in real time after our game, and I was convinced at the time, in full motion, it's a Stonewall penalty. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care who it is. It was a penalty. He dived in the first half, yes, but again, what happened back then should influence what happens in the moment. VAR didn't even look at it. It's a penalty, and people trying to get stills of saying, "Oh, look where his foot is stepping on his foot." But then there's another angle where Matip's foot's actually on top of Gordon's foot. They were destroying him on the counter-attack. In that particular moment, you watch it again from the backward angle, he shoved him to the ground. I can't be convinced otherwise.
1,000,000% penalty. I agree with you 100%. And like I said, you can't get this one off a steal. You have to watch this in normal time. And anyone that plays football would have known, mate, straight away you say that's a penalty all day. And I just don't know what the referees were thinking.
The best is Jamie Carragher's very impartial commentary.
I honestly cannot understand how this. Well, like I said, I was, if and ahhing with some of the ones in our game, but this one is clear cut as day.
Look at this stat. Liverpool haven't had a pen against them in 46 or 45 games. Now,
46.
Mate, we sneeze and we can see penalties over at Arsenal. That's a hell of a stat. That is a hell of a stat. Now, if you wanted to talk about footballing conspiracies and Amazon buying refs for their documentary, surely you've got to look at the Liverpool fairy tale. They are the darlings of the media, the darlings of, neutral fans generally. They get a lot of love, and no penalties in 45 or 46 games.
That's crazy.
Mental. Are Liverpool favoured, RJ?
You can only look off stats, Scott. 46. The next one, I think after that's like 22 or something. Correct me if I'm wrong, someone in the live chat. But the facts are the facts. It's not even, you can turn around and say, oh, maybe that's just because we defend very well. You bring up a number of instances where they've had very controversial calls, the 50-50 going their way. I don't know. I'm not a big conspiracy theorist, even though I should be with my club. But it just shows you there's just a lot of incompetency going around. This one in particular is interesting because of the title race. Like Everton get that penalty. There's no guarantee they score, but it's 0-0. Remember, they lost 2-0. It was 0-0 at the time. They score it. They continue to frustrate because there's no need for them to go on the counter anymore. They could just completely shut up shop. If Liverpool lost that game, does that look like a good narrative for the Premiership title?
Yeah, you're right, bro. You're right.
Now, there's your narratives. Declared's in the house as well. Good evening to you, Mr. Declared. Let's look at a couple more stills and then get our final verdicts on these. Have a look at this one. Now, just to set the context for those that maybe haven't seen this live, there were massive calls, Ralph Ragnick leading the charge, saying that this goal should have been given offside. Now, what the still doesn't show you, here's my bias speaking, Eddie Nketiah is not like literally in front of David De Gea. There's some good space between them. De Gea's on the line. Eddie Nketiah was at least on the penalty spot for me, potentially even further out. Where do you stand on this one, Robbie?
It's a goal for me on this one. Exactly. If he was standing right, they're trying to do an obstruction thing, so it wasn't offside for me because I've seen these before. To have an obstruction, you've pretty much got to be nearly within a meter of the goalkeeper. Look, he was never getting to that, and like I said, that's just again, we've got a still image of it. You probably move another second or two, and he's moved on. I'm pretty sure he moved, and Kedia moved to the left. Yeah. He's gone to the right anyway. Look, it happens in the moment, mate. Like, he's standing there, he can't just move himself out of it. If he was directly in front of him within a meter, obstruction, fair enough, can't see the ball. For me, it was just a goal. He was never getting to it anyway.
RJ, any issues with this? For me,
I don't know about the whole meter thing. If someone's in your line of sight, they're in your line of sight. Because where do you draw a line? Are you going to say 1 meter, 2 meters?
No,
if he's blocking you and he's offside...
It's happened to us before in previous seasons where we've had goals chalked off for the same kind of thing, but they said it had to be pretty much right in front of him. So yeah,
I know there's going to be a common sense rule applied here, but I'm just thinking, as a neutral, I don't know. I'm just trying to think though. Like, you're a goalkeeper.
See, for me though,
if someone is offside, like if someone is affecting your visibility and they are offside in any way, shape, or form, are you gaining an advantage from having that shot? Like, was he obstructed in any way, shape, or form from someone that was in an offside position? And if the answer is yes, then is the black and white rule got to apply? I don't know. Like, to be honest, I don't remember it in detail. You think it was okay, Rob, but that's my general principle on it.
And look, I think if you start worrying about line of sight, right, I understand if Nketiah is literally standing, contacting him, or is, within a meter of him, fair call. That's literally right in front of him. But what's then to stop people saying, no, that player was in my line of sight or he was in my line of sight? Like, players, if they're running around in the box, they can't be worrying about getting in the keeper's line of sight when there's at least, 3 meters between them. I just think you've got to look at it. And like you said, to me, it's the common sense rule. Declared's agreeing it's too far out to make that claim. That's where I'm at as well. If he was standing there, 2 meters closer to De Gea, I'm there.
We've seen it before, like a perfect example. We've seen it before on set pieces. When there's a free kick and we see the attacking team trying to break the offside trap, you can have a guy that's in an offside position, but the guy that scored the goal, if he's come from an onside position and scores the goal, they'll give the goal to. They won't call that offside. They won't disallow that goal because the other people have ran for the offside trap and the guys come from an onside position.
What's the principle here? Is the principle here that the person in the offside position has obstructed the view in any way, shape, or form of the goalkeeper? If they can't get a clear line of sight, look, it's different. If everybody's onside and the guy can't get it, he can't see it, that's different because the guy's onside. But if someone's offside and he's obstructing the view and they're getting an advantage from that, then how should that be allowed? That's just my way of thinking about it. But you're right. There's got to be a common sense point of view.
Touch and go. I don't know if you've got the other one, Scotty, because
I've got them all.
Have you got the other one with Ronaldo's goal? Because for me, that was an onside goal for me. And I did not like the way they drew the lines, man. I think that was crazy, Mr. Skookle on that one. Because for me, I reckon, if anything, it was right on the line. For me, it's on. I don't know if what kind of angle you've got of it.
I'll find that one next. But just quickly, let's not dawdle too much on this one. Let's almost quick fire it. Red card, yes or no?
Yes.
RJ?
Not on a still. No, not for me.
In motion? Have you seen it in motion, Arj?
No, I'm saying based on the still, in motion.
For me, there's enough
it's almost
there
like an orange.
That's a red. I guarantee you, if Tavares' ankle snaps, the ref gives that a red on review. Not that the injury should count.
I think he was lucky to get away with it. That's an orange card is perfect. It's probably perfect of what you can say for it.
Okay, last one we're going to look at, and we're going to wrap up the talk about VAR's shocker. Here we go. The man CR7 caught offside for this. I thought this was really, really harsh.
I wish we had another angle because I'm right here where we can't see. There was another Arsenal player. I don't know who it was, and that one is close to right on the thing. There was another Arsenal player who I think played him on the left hand side of Anthony Elanga, but we can't see it on this one. For me, this should have been onside for me.
Yeah, look, I'm with you. I think when it's that close, you've got to give the benefit of the doubt to the attacker. RJ?
Yeah, I'm tired of talking about this because we lost the Carabao Cup final with this, with Lukaku's shirt sleeve, which you can't score with. And we all
agreed at the time
if that's given, that's as equally as bad. So I feel sorry for Ronaldo, feel sorry for United, and even though I feel sick saying that, but yeah, the lines were meant to be thicker. There's meant to be benefit of doubt to the attacker. There's too many mistakes with this system, or not the system, the application of the system.
Oh, look, no yellow. It's low going for the ball. Yeah, I don't know about that one. I'm not going to I'm going to buy too much into no yellow for Bruno. Boys, let's quickly, because we know some of the other narratives from the weekend. Newcastle continued their meteoric rise from relegation battlers to ninth place, I think. I've got the table here. They are now sitting in ninth. What a turnaround for Eddie Howe. We won't harp too much on that. Burnley moved themselves out of the relegation zone. They had 2 wins in this extended game week. Let's have a little bit of a look at the table and just get some quick thoughts, because I know, Robbie, you can't stay for the whole show tonight. So let's look at the table and get some thoughts. The title race continues. These 2 juggernauts, it's going to go down to the wire. Any quick words on that top 4 battle at this moment in time, RJ?
Yeah, it's still very much up in the air. The win for us was very helpful to give us a little bit of a cushion, but based on the fixtures that remain, you can never say never in this crazy league. I think that it's a real great battle between your 2 teams. United are a bit behind the 8 ball, and Tottenham, they're the wild card in this equation. I think West Ham now, too little, too late for me. So it's a straight shootout between your 2 boys plus Spurs.
See, I think United are done now after that. Yeah. Robbie, are you guys are you out of it now?
But I said this like a month ago out of it, and everyone kept trying to kick
Yeah.
us onto the track. Honestly,
But mathematically, in form, you're out of it. But even
we're
on those
still into it.
points, you're still
100%
there.
mathematically, yeah. But like I said, you can't mathematically look. You got to look at performances, especially over the last month. Just lost 3 in a row, and we've got Chelsea next.
But Arsenal and Spurs were losing at the time, so it's not
we're
like
playing
they were
each
bucket
other.
loads in front. You're playing each other. Arsenal and Spurs are playing each other. We're versing you guys, and who knows what could happen there. You just don't know. That's why I say it's very difficult to put the red pen through those 3 teams for me.
Just quickly, I wanted to say for the Spurs people in there, everyone said, including you boys, Spurs are going to roll Brentford. Mate, back-to-back games for Tottenham, no shots on target. And you know me, I normally tip them every week. Brentford were lucky not to get away with that. They kissed the post and the crossbar twice in that game. They were all over Tottenham in that game, and they definitely deserved the win. So, again, mate, like you said, nothing's 100% yet. Tottenham was great for the last month, and then they come up against a Brentford who they should be putting away if they want that Champions League spot. And they were definitely, Brentford definitely should have won that game.
It probably doesn't help when you think about Spurs, these rumours around Mr. Conte. But before we talk about them, let's just quickly look at the bottom. I think we've all agreed Norwich and Watford are done. That momentum for Burnley puts them above Everton, who do have a game in hand, but games in hand don't mean much in this league at the moment. Just quickly, boys, let's quick fire it. Out of Everton, Burnley, and I guess you say Leeds, but it's not going to be Leeds. But out of those 3, who's going down?
I honestly think Everton. I said it a couple of weeks ago. I just think they got the hardest run home out of all of them.
RJ?
Yeah, I think so. They've copped some pretty dud calls against City and Liverpool now. Rodri, handball, Gordon shoved over against Liverpool. They've spirited, but they're getting dudded at the moment. I think they'll be done now.
Yeah, I think it's all done too. Quickly, before we farewell Rob, Antonio Conte, rumours coming out, PSG getting rid of Poch. He's not the man for them, and I think that Champions League defeat really ruined it for them, not going through. And strong rumours that Antonio Conte is the man that they want there to replace Poch. Now, this is an interesting narrative for 2 reasons. One, Conte would be bailing on Spurs, and he only just started the project. And Poch becomes a free agent on the market. Robbie, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I was actually talking to RJ about this yesterday morning at breakfast, and I think there's a big possibility that this can happen. I can see Conte more, or PSG wanting Conte, and I can see him happily to go. And we were saying, I reckon he'd do an absolute great job over there with the players. I think he'd really put them, he'd really fix them up. He's someone that can control a locker room like that. He means business, and I think the players would learn that quickly. And just with the players and he's got available, I really think he'd bring his system, the whole 3-5-2 back into it, and that would be a team that could challenge. And I think it's more of the Poch back to Spurs is more that, okay, well, we're losing a world-class manager here. Poch is available again. We know him. Who else we're going to get? I think it'd be just, who else we'll take him back kind of thing. I don't think it'd be Tottenham wanting him back. I think it'd be like, okay, part of a deal kind of thing.
RJ, what do you think about this? I mean, interesting narrative for 2 fronts. Does this hurt Conte's legacy that he just kind of jumped ship like that? And for Spurs, do they look stupid for taking back the man that they sacked?
No, I think it's no on both fronts. I think if a top club comes calling, they open the door, you walk through the door. Unless you've got some affinity with the club you're at the moment. Nobody batted an eyelid with Ancelotti. Left, and Everton weren't in the bad state that they are now. So Real Madrid's Real Madrid. PSG's, with all due respect to our Spurs fans, they are in a better moment. They've got a better chance of winning a Champions League, A, because they consistently qualify for it, and B, they've got better players. So, look, Spurs should, if I'm a Spurs fan or the board, you shouldn't feel like you've got egg on your face either, because at the time, You brought him in good faith, and this was always a risk that he could pick up and go if one of the big dogs came calling, and you make the best of a bad situation. It's just a question of, do you look for a straight swap with Pochettino, who knows the club? Because I think there's probably more of a question mark about, do we look silly of bringing this guy back in after he left us to pursue greener pastures? If I'm choosing, I'd let bygones be bygones and bring him back, knowing that the open market, there's not that much talent unless we're missing something.
Yeah,
Robbie, I know you've got to run, mate, so we're going to let you go. And RJ, you and I can continue this chat. Take it easy, my man.
Thanks, guys. I love yous and leave yous. I'll see you on Thursday night. I know the Champions League's on, so I'll just give you my 2 quick tips. I've got City to do Real Madrid at home. I'd love Villarreal to get one, but I think the fairy tale is going to come to an end. So I do think Liverpool 2-1 will win at Anfield.
Well, is VAR in effect?
Oh, well, you know what?
I'd
love Emery to get something over Liverpool, especially at home, mate. But yeah, who knows? They'll probably get a couple tricky VAR penalties if I know Liverpool.
I mean, take it easy, Robbie.
See you Thursday night.
Speak to you, brother.
I like this from Declared. A singlet fight's on tonight. That's probably where he's gone. I mean, if Rob has to leave a stream for something, there's no better reason than a singlet fight. I want to go through a couple of these comments because I haven't actually given my thoughts on Conte and Poch yet. But Declared saying there's no chance Conte will be able to install his harsh discipline. I can't see Conte marching into Spurs and playing the real tough bad guy with
at PSG, you mean? Or
there's so many egos in there, and I just can't see Neymar, Mbappe. There's already speculation around him, Messi, all these stars. I don't know if he can just march in like that. PSG are a big club, Spurs aren't. Yeah, there's a difference there. PSG have world-class players. Spurs have one semi-world-class player on his day and when he's in an England jersey. So, you know, they're very different worlds. I don't see him just walking in and being the tough guy. And I also think for Spurs, not that we have any issue with them humiliating themselves, but you got to a Champions League final with Poch. That was punching well above their weight because they're not a Champions League final team. You then got rid of Poch. Now you bring Poch back when the big club lets him go. I don't know image-wise. I mean, Spurs aren't a big club. They'll never be a big club. Sorry, Marty and Alex, but I just think it would be silly. Do I think he's probably the best manager available if he becomes available? Yes. But going back to Spurs, I just don't know. I don't know, RJ.
I don't know, mate. To be honest with you, I kind of disagree with the notion of him being able not to go into PSG and command respect. He's been there, done that, won that. And yeah, there's a lot of attitude problem with PSG, but equally, is Conte someone that's not going to take much rubbish from players, and he'll, I reckon, get a rocket up some of them. And he's got pedigree. He could turn around and say, my methods work. We've got the quality here. We've got the wing-back system. We've got players like Hakimi and that can really hurt you with their pace. But it's all speculation at the moment. I just think it's likely Poch will be out. Conte is someone that likes to go and manage with clubs that have got a lot of resources at their disposal. And you know what? I'm kind of angling for that because if he goes, he can sort of help take a little bit of £100 million pressure off our books and bring in someone like a Lukaku. So there's a few moving parts in this story. So look, I hope it happens for a few reasons, but let's see what happens.
We're going to have to get Fabrizio back on to talk about all of this stuff.
Actually, it's a good point.
Hey? Yeah. We might have to look at that. Get on the bat phone to Fab. Really, really interesting comments on that. It's a big story. We will talk Champions League in a minute, but we may as well look at a couple of other rumors or transfer bits of business. Antonio Rudiger. You guys are in for a Rudiger awakening, mate. Without him, what's going on?
A Rudy awakening indeed. So the news broke out. Thomas Tuchel confirmed he is out. Our mate Fab said, yep, basically he's on the door to the Bernabeu. Just a few sentiments on it. Firstly, his whole Chelsea career, he's experienced both ends of the spectrum. Had some really challenging moments under a couple of different managers. He had a few bad performances that led to a lot of errors, and he got rightfully or wrongfully dropped for those performances. But to his credit, once Tuchel came into the bridge, he really restored his confidence, got him working in the left of a back three. He's become revitalised, and he's one of the most informed centre-backs going around in Europe. And I think from his perspective, from what's been reported, he's given Chelsea every opportunity to negotiate with them. But Chelsea, thinking from their perspective, have tried to manage their wage structure, and they haven't made any hasty decisions just because he's had 12 to 18 months of really, really impeccable form. Yeah. It's one of those weird scenarios where there's no right or wrong party here. You're a professional at the peak of your powers, at the age in which you are now going to get the last big contract. He has every right to pursue as much money as he's worth. Yeah. He deserves nothing but praise for the performances and legacy he's left. But equally, from a club point of view, so being a Chelsea fan, I'm very disappointed in the club's planning and contingency around this. We've let go of Mark Guehi, who's going great guns at Palace. We let go of Fikayo Tomori, who's killing it at AC Milan. Christensen's gone for a free now to Barcelona. And now you've got Rudiger, your most informed centre-back, leaving for free as well. So there's more questions about the board's competence with their planning. And I hope the new owners come in and really get a grip on this, because we can't just let great quality walk out for free. So, yeah, I've got nothing but respect for Rudiger, and I just hope he leaves on a massive high, including the FA Cup victory.
Mate, it's almost Arsenal-esque, the way you're losing quality players on free transfers or in poor deals. It's something that we've done over the years, and I can only imagine as a fan, and I'm no fan of Chelsea, we all know this.
Oh, well, we're disputing that.
Losing someone like Rudiger would hurt, because when I watch him play as a neutral, he's really into that kind of shithousery. He's a cult figure. Yeah, he's
a character, isn't he?
He's the kind of guy you love to watch. You love to have him on your team. You hate to play against him. So, I think the league and Chelsea are both weaker for losing a player like him, and I think he'll smash it over at Real Madrid, because they're slowly trying to rebuild their squad a little bit as well, and he's a great addition to that. There were also strong rumours, RJ. I don't know, did you want to say anything else on Rudiger?
I just wanted to make mention of the fact that obviously he's a linchpin of our team. And I totally agree with G Talks here, by the way. He's been one of the most standout performers on a consistent basis, with guys like Mason Mount, who I'm a huge fan of, Jorginho, third Ballon d'Or, Thiago Silva, who's like a fine wine here. But exactly, I don't blame you. But equally, at the end of the day, if the rumours are true around the numbers that were being asked for, it's hard to know what's the right answer here, because if he turned down a 230k contract and he wanted 300k and plus a 10 million sign-on bonus for his agent or whatever the numbers are, he's 29, entering 30. He wants a 4-year deal, whatever it is. We just got to become guarded against recency bias, and we just don't want them committing and all of a sudden he gets the contract and then all of a sudden takes his foot off the pedal. There's nothing in his performances to suggest that he would do that. But equally, we've been burnt in the past when we've gone in over our heads, spent tons of money on keeping people who are just milking the cow for what it's worth. So it's a shame because of, like I said, we let go of some real young superstars and equally some really top-class professionals like Rudiger on a free now. So it's a lose-lose scenario, and that's what we're going to have to handle, mate. We move.
It hurts. Going to quickly bring up this comment. Get ready for the United Revolution. 21's coming. Ten Hag will bring good players and play beautiful football. Yeah, look, I was ready for the Louis van Gaal revolution, the David Moyes revolution, the Mourinho revolution, the King Ollie at the wheel, the godfather of the Gegenpress and a mentor to Klopp revolution. There have been a lot of revolutions at United.
They go around in circles. That's what a revolution is, mate.
Until they get dizzy and fall over and bump their heads. The proof is in the pudding, though. And I think it would be hard for Ten Hag to do a worse job than what we've seen under Ralph. And I don't blame Ralph for that. I think the squad needs massive surgery. This comment from Declared, losing Rudiger for free hurts, but losing Lukaku will be a joy, and Chelsea will be one of the busiest. Now, this is probably a little bit of an out there football take, but I would take Lukaku at Arsenal. We desperately need a striker. I actually think he would operate quite well in our system and under Arteta. I would take him, but I think one thing Chelsea need to be prepared for is that you're not going to get anywhere near what you paid back. So you're going to have to take a financial hit on an outgoing transfer.
Definitely, Scott.
If there is one. I don't even think, I'm not even confident, RJ, that he'll be sold. I'm not even
confident about anything. We are
crazy.
operating under very unprecedented circumstances. We don't even know who our owners are going to be. How do we know what capability we're going to have or capacity in the transfer window to do anything? So we might just have to, take our medicine and deal with the squad we've got until the scouting network's been updated and our academy continues to deliver the goods. But ideally, for all parties, it would be best if he left, take the hit. And the only good thing out of all of this sanction stuff and new ownership is effectively it wasn't the owners that stumped up the cash. You know what I mean? So they're going to come in here. It's not their loss that they're writing off. So they're less inclined to want to get every single dollar back. The ideal solution is to get his massive wages off our book. But it's not even just players like him, Scott. You've got players like Timo Werner who've been, in form recently, but are on mega dollars. You've got some of those defenders now who are out the door walking for free. You've got those midfielders who are entering the final years of their contract. I agree with Declared that it's going to be our busiest window, with the massive caveat of if the owners come in and allow us to rebuild that squad. So it's going to be a huge 12 months for Chelsea.
Also, some rumours that came out before we move on to Champions League, and these were rumours I was quite happy to see, actually. Arsenal heavily linked with Gabriel Jesus. Look, I love Jesus. I love Jesus. I think he would be an excellent addition again to this young, hungry Arsenal team. Seeing him play up front with Saka, Ødegaard, Martinelli, Emile Smith-Rowe, this one to me is not. It's not out of the realm of reality. He's got the connection with Arteta. We're on relatively good terms with Man City in terms of transfer business, and Arteta still having positive connections with the club. I think he's a good, exciting striker who just hasn't had enough game time. I mean, City made the choice to play without a recognised striker for a couple of seasons, and I mean, they've been brilliant. If it's not broken, don't fix it. But I would take him so happily at this team. We've got the Brazilian connection with Gabriel. We've got Martinelli. He's got a couple of international colleagues there. This seems like a transfer that would work for everyone. It's a win for Arsenal.
What's the rumour? What's the figure, Scott?
I can't remember the exact figures. I know G's still in the chat. G, if you can remember the figures, chuck him in the chat. But he's saying, at the price being quoted, it's a steal. I think it might have been 40 potentially, 40 or 60 in my head. But I know G will help me out in the chat. Here we've got a more traditional CF needed. Yep, I agree. And that's where I kind of shout out Lukaku there. Football capital, you might need God as well. Please. Look at Emad speaking as if his team didn't just get smacked up 3-1 by the Arsenal. He wasn't making these kind of comments at the pub, RJ. I guarantee you of that. And, 25 to 30 million. For me, it would be an absolute no-brainer and a steal if we can get him at that price. What do you think about that potential transfer, RJ? Do you think he'd do a good job?
Look, I think he's a good player. There's no doubt about it. And his goals per 90 or his goals and assists per 90 are quite good. And he's been I would call him a productive contributor at City. But you've got to ask yourself questions about how good is he, because we know that City have been chasing the most prolific striker, and we know that they play a very fluid front three, so it might not necessarily be a criticism of his game. He's no doubt grown and evolved under Pep, But equally, because he's not the main man and quite often he's not trusted to lead the line, you've got to ask yourself questions why that is. You know what I mean? So, look, sometimes he needs a change of environment and he knows the Premier League. He's in good form. He's at a very good age. He hasn't hit peak maturity. So there's plenty of upside for him. But equally, there's obviously the negative and the risk that you spend money on him that could have been funded or at least partially funded for someone of a cut above his quality. I just think he's not your traditional centre forward, and sometimes some of the goals he scores are good at poaching, but equally it's not even that. Because he's playing with some genuine superstar creators behind him, is he a beneficiary of the quality service he's getting? And will he be equally as effective with Arsenal, who, let's face it, they're not De Bruyne, they're not Silva, they're not Mahrez. They're good, but they're not that good. So what's his impact going to be? To be honest, yes, this is a no-brainer for me. Martinez, yes, because I know it's Inter Milan and we know the perils of picking up players in different leagues and their acclimatization issues. But from what I've seen, I watch a lot of Inter, obviously. This guy here, he'd worth a lot of money, but I think he would do a lot of damage if he came into the Premier League. It just, is he worth that much money? That's the $1 million question. I just think Gabriel, just for rounding up on him, if 25 to 30 is the cost, if you can get him for 25, definitely. If you start pushing 30 plus, thinking if you spent another 15, 20, could you get someone that's even better? I don't know. Definitely could do a lot worse is what I'd say.
Look, for me, we've seen Lukaku come in and we've seen the kind of Tammy Abraham thing where he couldn't get it done here. He's gone over there and he's a world beater. I just think the style of football is very different in the two leagues. And I'm not going to put banter on any particular league, but yeah, I would tend to be cautious and go with the proven, and I say proven lightly, proven Premier League player. There's the shout here, Dybala on a free. Well, there's going to be, I think this is going to be one of the most insane transfer windows of all time, and we can't wait to keep covering it. It's going to be exciting. But what's also going to be exciting, Mr. RJ, is the Champions League. We've got the semi-finals where these are the big ticket games. We won't go too far into them. Let's just give some predictions. Real Madrid, Man City.
Still feels so wrong saying Real Madrid. Should be Chelsea. Say Chelsea, please. No, look.
You would have got knocked out anyway by City.
No chance, man. We would have won it. But anyway, Real Madrid, Man City. Is the first game at the Bernabeu? I just can't recall from memory. I think it is.
It's at the Etihad.
Okay, it's at the Etihad. Okay, so I got to agree with Rob's assessment before. I think City will be too strong at home. Real Madrid will be the pragmatic approach that they expect. But City have shown that they are open at the back. And if Vinicius can get a lot of breathing space there to exploit that open space, and with the prolific form the Karim Reaper is in, give him one or two chances and there's a 95% chance he'll bury them. You could see them walking away with a bit of faith coming back to the Bernabeu. So look, lock in City for the win. I'll go 2-1 to the Citizens.
Yeah, look, I think this is the year that City get to the final. I think they'll get there. And I'm going to say they might take this one 2-1 as well. I agree with you, RJ. I think it'll be tight, though. But I think Pep's boys might have a bit too much. We saw what you did to them at the Bernabeu, and yeah, I think City should have enough at home.
Yeah, they're a team that can be gotten at Real Madrid.
Absolutely. If you get them on the back foot, they're not the paciest of teams, particularly at the back. Let's look at the other one, Villarreal and Liverpool. I was laughed at when I said that they'd get through Juve. I was laughed at when I said they would get through. Who they get? Bayern.
Shocking, mate. Shocking.
Here's a hot take for you. Unai Emery's men are going to leave Anfield with a 1-1 draw. You heard it here first. Lock it in. Get the key. It's a lock. Lock down like Arsenal's top 4 chances. I'm going 1-1.
The lock is back out. The lock, stock, and
The
two
lock is
smoking
here.
barrels. Look, to be honest with you, nah. And again, confirm the it is Anfield.
My man Matt, how you going,
Yep.
Matty? So, yeah, this is at Anfield, mate. This is it.
It is at Anfield. You think they're going to walk away with a draw? That's interesting. I will say is that Liverpool have shown, like City, that they play that high line and they can be gotten to. But I think if Moreno's out, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's a big loss for them.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think they lose a lot of sucker punch there. I can't see anything else but a win for the Reds. It hurts me to say it, but yeah, at Anfield, I actually see this one equally being a 2-1 because Villarreal want to keep things tight. They want to give themselves belief going back to the second leg. You can't win it here, but you can lose it here. And that's what the message will be. Just don't lose it here. Be disciplined. Strike when we can. But if we don't win it here, as long as we give ourselves every opportunity to win it in front of our own crowd, which will be an unbelievable experience because their fans, like Liverpool fans, create a great atmosphere. So hopefully it's close on both fronts.
Good luck though to Villarreal. I think we're all yellow for this one. And look, Unai Emery, if he's shown something over the years, is that his teams can frustrate. Even if they were to get spanked in this match and get knocked out, massive credit to him and to that Villarreal team, because you look at that team on paper, there's a whole bunch of misfits who couldn't make it at their club.
What a story that would be. That would have to
Amazon
be in the
need to roll up
conversation
there.
for it. That's an underdog story and a half if I've ever seen one.
Absolutely. Spot on. Look, if you've joined us late, please make sure you leave a like on the video as well. Leave a comment on the video. That really helps with YouTube's algorithm, and that would be really beneficial for us. We've talked about VAR. We have covered Arsenal, United. We talked about Chelsea. We spoke about the Conte, the Poch rumours. Mental, absolutely mental. And we've talked, of course, just then about the Champions League. If you missed it, make sure you go back and watch it. And if you're watching it late, please leave your score predictions in the comments. Have you got any quickfires for me tonight, my man? It's just you and me.
Yeah, I do now that it is just us two because we don't have this opportunity often. I told you I just
How much do you dislike Rob?
On a scale of 1 to 10, but what do
12.
you say? minus 12, mate. Don't say that about Rob. He's a good lad.
Cheers,
I've
Jake.
got a question for you. It's 24 related.
Love it.
Who is your favorite character in 24? And it can't be Jack Bauer, even if that was your answer.
My favorite character in 24, and it can't be Jack Bauer. I'm going to go with Bill Buchanan. Bill Buchanan was an absolute champion, mate. He sacrificed his life for the good of the team. He was just an absolute legend.
Hey, I'm not up to that part yet. You just gave it away.
What about you, mate?
Thanks a lot. I'd probably say, yeah, he's right up there for me. But I also like Curtis, and I also like Tony Almeida, particularly in the earlier seasons.
Yeah. People have told me I look a bit like Tony Almeida.
Yeah.
Make of that what you will. Just him if he was really out of shape. My question to you, you're making a pizza. You're only allowed to put 4 toppings on there. Cheese is already included. Don't worry about that. And obviously the sauce. What 4 toppings are you chucking on your pizza?
Yep, sure. So
good evening, Tobago. Good evening.
Hey,
We're just, as I said, we're just wrapping up tonight. We're talking pizza before we finish up. But it's important you go back and check this out again because we've had.
You've got to get a slice of this episode. And speaking of slices, things, my 4 ingredients would be pepperoni. They would be ham. They would be, I'd say, sausage. So I'd have it on there. So like Italian sausage, like pork sausage. And you say 4. You say 4. What would the lucky 4th one be for me?
Look, if you don't want a 4th, I'm happy for you to keep it simple.
No, I'll lock it in. I'll put in cabanossi just because I'm a big meat fan.
Mate, look, I'm easy. Cabanossi, ham, onion, pineapple. Boom.
Oh, my
the best
dear
pizza you'll ever get, mate. Extra triple pineapple, quadruple pineapple. 100%. Look at
Nice.
this.
And hey, I got another one for you.
Oh,
Given
I love it.
you're a bit of a GOT man like myself, so there's the House of the Dragons coming out in August, or whatever. But just on GOT, because you're an addict like myself, who was your favorite house, and who do you think was the most underrated character? So it's a double banger.
Most underrated.
Yeah,
Most
underrated character and
underrated.
favorite house.
I actually didn't mind the Baratheon house. I had no issues with the Baratheons. I didn't mind them. Was it Stannis? That was the more serious brother.
Yeah,
What
he's
was
the
the name
older
of
one on.
the Onion Knight? The Onion Knight. What was his actual name?
Yeah, Sir
Oh,
Davos.
Sir Davos. He's probably my low key underrated character.
Okay,
And my favorite house was the Baratheons because they were just big fellas that like to party like me.
that's it. I like him. He was good, Big Rob. But here's the other Rob. I'd say for me, favorite house. I've got to go to the Starks for sure. They're just good people. Good people, even though they're a bit, lacking a bit of sensitive thinking or
They're
smarts.
not sure how
And
to get ahead.
well, that's right. They lose their head, don't they? So I'd say my most underrated character, Littlefinger, little schemer. I love the quotes he came out with. He was just someone I really got involved with. Oh, Declared's
Well,
been in the whole show. Come on,
yeah, look
Declared.
at
Come
him.
on.
Look at him. He's such a hater. Look, it has been a cracker of a show. Gone a little bit longer than we planned to, but hey, when you're talking football, why the heck not? Want to just give our friends at the Football Capital a little plug. Go check out their salty Arsenal and United review. Yeah, look, I'm not going to lie. It's more comedy than reality. But Borche's a bit salty, so make sure
Hey, he
you
did a
check
good
that out as
review. I
well.
watched it before. He did a good job, mate. Great
Just
effort
salt,
watching.
mate. It was just tears, whinging, and salt. Not my cup of tea, but no, it is a very good review. So check that out. RJ, we are back again on Thursday evening at the same time. If you jumped in a little bit late, that's okay. We're not upset with you. Make sure you're on time next week because it was popping in the live chat. Have a great time. Look after yourselves. Enjoy your Champions League football. And we'll be back to talk about it on Thursday. Good evening.